And we are live, and I am back. It's about 3 minutes after 9 o'clock here, Central Standard Time, and I'm back. After a very brief hiatus, yeah, not terribly sure exactly what is going to go on here, but I assure you something is going to happen by hook or by crook. I didn't even bother to look to see who I am stomping on right now. So I'll do a quick looky-loo. Let me get my screen share. I'm going to share a screen and we'll go with this screen and we're sharing. Hello there, Limitless Lindy. How are you? How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. So I'm looking right now. Oh, look at that big mug sticking out right there. That's a Scotty P. I'm just kind of making sure I'm not stepping on anybody else's live. Who else? Oh, Dr. Chafee with 795 people. Hello there, Laura. Yes is the right answer. Well, I'm running up against Dr. Chafee, so it might be just the three of us tonight because, well, Dr. Chafee has it all going on. I mean, he's smart. He's a doctor. He's a neurosurgeon. He's horribly disfigured. Oh, and we've got my weight loss is on life too. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I don't want to get on your low carb football party. That's cool. Yeah. So when you're running against the big dogs, I'm glad I waited a little bit because I saw JT from Poco Moonshine Family was on with none other than Carrie from Homestead How. Well, you don't want to run up sideways against that. That might cause a brain damage. But Anthony Chafee, I can't compete. I can't compete with the doc. The doc's a good guy, though, and I wish him well, and I'm glad he's on. How you two been doing today? What's been going on? Hey, Lindy, I was bragging on you earlier today. Did you hear that? Did you hear about me bragging on you there, Lindy? I sure was. I was bragging on you because of your video on your dental conditions and how the carnivore way of eating has a way of life has really done you well with regards to your dental health. I think that's absolutely awesome. Yes. And I did a little video earlier today because I was a little put off last night. I was a little put off, and because of that being put off, I didn't go on. You've been working, just saw a notification. Oh, well, I'm glad you took a break. Don't let me be the reason you get in any type of trouble. Okay, we don't want anybody getting in trouble on my account. But yeah, I was very impressed by your candor and your, well, that's a pretty picture. It's not what I wanted. Thank you very much. And not just only your candor, but the information you provided with regards to your dental health and how, with the deterioration of your physical well-being, there was a corresponding degradation for your dental health. Yeah. Dr. Chafee, but he's repetitious. Yeah. Well, you're too kind. You're too kind, Laura. I appreciate that. Well, I know it's good that you work from home. I cannot do that. I got a job offer 2 weeks ago, but I'd have to work from home, and I turned it down because, one, I'm retired and I like it, and two, I don't like working from home. I'm not disciplined. Well, there's a beautiful sunset. Let's watch the sunset. Here it comes. And there's the sunrise. And here comes sunset. Real quick, watch, quick, and boom, there it is, gone. There you go. There's that hurricane. Everybody's all, oh no, it's pulling off out here. It's going to impact the Northeast, but not the United States. I'd be more concerned about this little piece of energy right here. That's one that might be problematic for the lower 48. Dr. Chafee is on SBG meeting tomorrow, so there you go. Way to go. But yeah, hey, them sunrise and sunsets are pretty quick. Now, This is a beautiful system wrapped up here in, I'm going to go in Saskatchewan. Do we have any Saskatchewanese? Is that really such a thing? Probably not. Probably a silly thing to even suggest that there's a Saskatchewanese. But if I would go like that, and then I would go down to band 9, band on the run. That's why I don't sing. And there it is. Look, BAS. Yep, it's in Saskatchewan and moving into Manitoba. I always enjoyed the shuttle shots with the sun. Yeah, I know. Awesome. Hey, listen, have any of you ever wondered, how can I remember the Southern Territories of Canada? Has that been a burning question on your mind? Well, let me help you. And here we go. If you look from left to right, you have this province, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major provinces, right? And if you use the word Bass Mock, oh, I don't have my hearing aids in. I cannot hear my S's, so then I don't pronounce them correctly. So pardon me while I put in my hearing aids. Yes, my itty bitty little tiny hearing aids. Right now they're ringing. They're going ding, 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 ding. Okay, and now I can hear myself. Oh, I should be quiet. Okay, so if you use the word Bassmock, British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ottawa, and Quebec. And you have to pronounce it Quebec because the Quebecers, they care about that. And I like to please. I'm a guy who likes to please. Anyway, this low pressure system just roaring through there, the Swan Lake, all these different little lakes, and lots of cold air coming down into Alberta, parts of, Saskatchewan, and into Manitoba. Then you have another system here. This is a high pressure ridging going to come into British Columbia. So my good friends up there in British Columbia are going to enjoy it. Of course, Alberta is going to get that downhill. Well, it's not really downhill, but you can call over the ridge and down the other side for my friends in Alberta. The lower 48, we have this cold front wrapped all the way around. It's occluded here, warm front here, cold front going right through the Minnesotas, through Dakota, into Nebraska, all the way down into, I would go ahead and call that, for lack of a better word, Colorado. Rocky Mountain highs. That's what we have going on here. Anyway, that's the lower 48. Yep. Southern Canada is burning. Disgraceful. Well, that is a topic for brilliant minds, and that's not mine. Now, we do see this hurricane out here, and it is impacting the New England area. Might get into a little bit of the DC area over the next few hours and days. But I suspect that as this moves in, it will pop up and right on up out of there, off into the sunset, become extra tropical. It doesn't mean extra special, it just means extra tropical. Yeah, and let's see if we can find just the United States. There we go, the U.S. And let's go with the geo color. No, let's go with lightning animation loop, 72 shots. Let's go with 96. There we go. We got a little beautiful little clouds. There's the hurricane. Georgia, South Carolina got a little bit lit up. Some Florida. There in Texas area, they got some thunderstorms earlier today. And then you see that cold front stretching all the way out from Manitoba, all the way down into Colorado, maybe Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, getting lit up on the I-40 corridor. Yeah, Big Bend area. So lots of little thunderstorms. All righty. That's enough of the that type of stuff for now. All right, I'm back. So I know put out a video today that seemed to indicate that I was ready to chuck in the towel yesterday. And the truth be told, at this time last night, I was ready to chuck in the towel. Hello, Natalie. Well, we're keeping as well as an old man can keep, kind of like Lindbergh cheese in a sock in the top drawer. Kind of iffy. Have you seen the floods in the Sahara, Saudi Arabia, Syria? Yes, 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 yes. Walls of water. Well, first thing I want to say, my heart goes out to the people and the families impacted by this. Believers or not, they were all wonderfully made in God's way. I have no room in my heart to hold ill will towards anyone. So, yes, I have seen of the floods. And if you've listened to things going on up in Bill Knott's neck of the woods, there's a lot of floods there too. Hey, Woodster, good to see you, brother. No, I'm not giving up on you all. No, 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 no. The thing for me, was I lost sight of my why, as I said before, and I am a person who has made rash decisions predicated on imperfect data. There we go. I once walked away from life, and when I went, the wonderful Crocodile Dundee says, it's a walkabout. I left everything, my apartment, all my stuff, and I walked away. I ended up in Pennsylvania from West Texas. Then I ended up in Maryland and Washington, D.C., and then I ended up back in my life. But for a while, I exited. I can't say that I am any worse off for it, but I do know I put a lot of people through distress when I did that. Yesterday was yesterday. Today is today. We're moving forward. The bottom line is that as I attempted to articulate, you all have become important to me, and I value the relationship that we all enjoy. And I fell victim. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I allowed myself to be swayed by the bright, shiny object that YouTube can become. The truth is, I am here because this is my accountability tool. You are my tribe, right? And so this is what facilitates me getting closer to my goal. This evening, earlier, I had a young man who is in a young men's Bible study at my church, and he was leading the class, and I was leading the class, and my class was kind of like the island of misfit toys, and that's okay. Okay, hang on, Natalie. Hold on, make sure. Yep, that's right. Exactly right, Natalie. And in my Sunday school class, I had gentlemen who are autistic. One gentleman, young man, who his wife is not a believer. She fights him every step of the way. He has 2 sons, and he brings them to church. And he and I, we relate. He served in the Marine Corps, and so we have a military bond. We have an understanding, and so my class was joined with this other class, so I could co-lead with a young man who is struggling with some things. And so I came in, and I lovingly referred to it as my island of misfit toys. And my wife, she goes to a Sunday school class, and I would go to church, and then she would go to church, and I would teach a Sunday school class. It's been 5 years, and I'm going back to church with my wife here in the next couple of weeks. I'll be surrendering my class back to this one young man, Tonight I had dinner with him and we talked about many things. And the thing is, and the important thing is that the young men who come to church who do not have wives, they do not have girlfriends, they live at home with their moms and or their dads, and they're autistic and they're adults and they're beautifully and wonderfully made, and I love them. And I could not, in good conscience, abandon them. But I have made the bridge and I've made it possible. But just like that, I find my YouTube family, and not if you are autistic or anything like that, but I've grown so close and this, I am nourished by it. But last night I got myself a little bit out of whack. And as I said, I got a wonderful, wonderful shout out. And in that shout out, there was a sense of meaning and purpose and belonging from Lisa's blessed life that rescued me from the precipice of that abyss where you say, why am I even trying this, right? And Woodster, thank you very much for your very kind words earlier today. I think we all find ourselves at these crossroads occasionally. Hopefully we have people around us that will say, no, come on. Let's reconsider. So here we are. Yep, that's right. Here we are. Natalie's saying we pick each other up and down. We're all going through similar health journeys. That's right. And that is exactly I guess I'll use the word conundrum. It's probably not properly used here. But we're each trying to do this fantastic thing where we remodel our bodies, that we fight against the dogma of big pharma, big food. We fight against the years and years of being told what to eat, how to eat, why we need to eat. Got to eat 6 times, 7 times, 8 times a day. You got to have the shredded wheat, the frosted flakes, the baked potatoes, all these things. And we're fighting against that to remodel our bodies, to regain control, to get our health. And then we decided, well, I'll go out to YouTube and YouTube will grow and I'll be a sensational thing on the YouTubes. Well, then again, reality comes up and it smacks you in the face and says, well, you're really good. You're kind of cool, but there's 15 million of you out there doing that. And the reality sets in and you start having to deal with the same self-doubts you had about, well, why will this diet work? And then, of course, we understand from all the things we watch. Like today, when I was watching another video, in that video, they were talking about how these various things really, how do you say it? Diets. What's the first 3 letters of the word diet? Die. Why do I want to let my life be led by the words die? No, it's a lifestyle. So we are good. Oh, yeah. Well, honestly, no, Natalie, I have to be honest. I don't have to, but I choose to be, right? It isn't what I think. It isn't what you think, but it's what I think you think. So where would you rank diet on your list of hard things to manage in life? Thank you, Eric. Yeah. Where would I rank it? Well, that's a complex question because it goes way behind loving my wife, loving my children, honoring and respecting my employer, right? It's way behind all that. But if I'm on an airplane and the oxygen masks fall, I have a duty and a responsibility to put mine on first so then I can administer them, right? I'm good. You're right, Laura. It's out. It's out of here, but it's a teachable moment. And if what I went through can be teachable for you, so you don't have to go through it, or you go through it differently, then it's all the more better. Yeah, food and diet is hard, but I think it's the hardest because someone else said it. By the way, good evening, Eric, and I love your pictures, Eric, of all them steaks. Um, I would sit there and say that the hard part about the diet thing, and you bring up a great point, Woodster, and I'm not the one who came up with this, but the hard part about the diet addiction, food addiction, so to speak, right, is we need food. See, we don't need cocaine, we don't need marijuana, we don't need alcohol. We weren't born with that stuff. Here's what the problem is. We need food. What we've had happen to us is we've allowed other people to define it for us. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where they get us. It's where they get the food scientists, the marketers, right? It's where they buy all sorts of time on the television and time in the Congress and create laws and do all that because, ladies and gentlemen, we need it. They got us. Who was it? Somebody recently did a whole neat routine on this whole thing with the COVID vaccine. Wherever you fall on that spectrum, I don't want to offend anybody, but this person, a comedian, talked about what if they got together, all the drug companies got together, or not drug, what are the drug cartels? That's where what if drug cartels got together, bought the media, paid off the government, and told you that you had to take their drugs. Right? And the only way you could go out of your house is if you took their drugs. Well, that's where we are, right? Well, food did that to us. Cigarettes used to do it to us, but they got caught with their hands in the cookie jar. People kept dying on them. But this whole food thing, that's a problem or the challenge of food. The challenge with food is it's slow. You can kill yourself dead. Well, it's going to take 50 years. Yeah. Or you can kill yourself dead, but it take 30 years. How about statins? Now, I'm not a doctor. None of this is doctrine. None of this is advice. I didn't sleep at a chain motel. Blah, 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 blah. How did they do that in, what was that movie? Aladdin, you know? All the writers and everything. Then when Aladdin's talking about, quid pro quo, all that, right? Okay. So I have friends that they're senior. I have a lot of senior friends. I'm getting to be a senior guy, so I got senior friends, and they get bruised and the skin tears, and they're all on statins, and they're all on these cholesterol drugs. And I tell them, I said, wait a minute, what are you doing? Your brain's made of cholesterol. Your body makes cholesterol. Your subcutaneous fat is made of cholesterol. Half your hormones are predicated on a cholesterol backbone. And you're taking a drug that interferes with that. And you're wondering why you tear and you bleed and you bruise. Seriously? One day, they are going to look back on us. They're going to look back on this last 40, 50, 60, 80 years. And they're going to go, what were you thinking? Here's your sign. In the terms of your age, here's your sign. So to answer your question there, Woodster, yes, diet is very difficult, and it is integral to so many aspects of our lives. When you think about it, and Eric, I know as a person who works in the medical field, you see this all the time. I'm sure you see it all the time, particularly in the military medical system, in the VA, where diabetes is robbing people of their lives. And the diabetics, bless their hearts, they'll just lift their shirt up, lift up that fat pad, and jab it with some more insulin after they went to Cracker Barrel. Come on. Really? All right, Miss Natalie. A lot of people make money out of us getting sick. That's right. Absolutely. They make money out of it, and then they make it a problem and say, well, we can't we can't give you the next diagnostic until after 30 days of telling you to go to physical therapy. Then we can take an x-ray, and 30 days later we can do an MRI, and 6 months later we can recommend you for surgery. Meanwhile, your labrum is torn all the way off and your arm is hanging out the socket. And ladies and gentlemen, there it is right there. Lisa's blessed life. Lisa, thank you very much. Everybody say thank you to Miss Lisa. I am here because she was willing to listen to the Holy Spirit. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, the whole thing about the diabetes. I was a data quality manager in an Army hospital, and I said we could, and correct me if I'm wrong, we could save a lot of people's lives and money if we would just do some insulin resistance type 3-hour glycemic challenge test. Or maybe we don't do that first, but at the first signs that someone is metabolically compromised, we do the insulin thing, and then we just run them through a whole series of videos of people losing toes, feet, limbs, going to the nephrologist, going through when they have to be drained, dialysis, and death. Be a great way. Remember how they had that scared straight? This is you in jail. This is your brain on drugs, right? We had that whole thing. This is you eating more biscuits and gravy followed up by pecan pie. This is you lying on a table being drained, dying. Sugar companies won't appreciate that. Neither does all the General Mills and Nabisco, et cetera, ad nauseum. A great motivator is to look at some of the super large people. Yes. But here's the other thing, Laura. Hello, Matthew. Hello. Good night, good day. How are you, brother? Good to see you. I'm glad you are here. Eric said, I've done dialysis for 22 years now. Yeah, exactly. But Eric, help me. All of you will help me to get my head wrapped around it. And this is what I want to say. This is what I learned. This is what I feel is truth. There is a point in a person's journey where they are now slave to their hormones. I kind of want an amen from somebody out there, right? I wish you all would jump in. I'd send you the link. But there's a point in time when your hand is in a bag of very popular, I don't want to get any strikes here, okay? But your hand's in a very popular name brand of chips that are triangular in nature and have a lot of salt and flavor. And the other hand's in a bag of gummy Sour Patch worms. And you kind of alternate, and you cannot help yourself because your ghrelin and your leptin communication accesses is totally ruined. And I put a T on that for emphasis. It's ruined. I'm in the South now. I know how to speak. Yep. Yeah, hit that like button. Hit that like button. Make my day. Make my day. That's why I don't rap. So, so that's the dealio there. I think there are a lot of people that we see at the Walmarts and the buffets, and my heart breaks for them. My son's godfather would eat. You tell about his spoon. Yep. Yeah. It took my brother-in-law's life. I cleaned the medical bed that he was in, that he died in. Now, I didn't have to clean it, but I had to clean it. And in his bed, and he was laying on mostly eating cheeseburgers, bags of sour gummy worms and candy. 450 pounds. So big that if they didn't drain him, they were going to have to bury him in a septic tank. I'm not going there. I'm not going there. I'm not going to be a victim like that. It's criminal that they can get away with this. Yep. Nutella. I'm a female. It's chocolate. Well, now, Lisa, I'm glad you brought up chocolate. I'm going to bring up another web page because that's how I roll, like a jelly donut. Well, I used to roll like a jelly donut, but I don't eat the jelly donuts anymore. And that's not bad, right? I'm going to go to this, and then I'm going to go. And I probably have talked about this before, and you all will go, you a silly, silly man. Boom. And now what I'm going to do is stand by for news. I'm trying to think. It's not my strong suit at the moment. All right. And let's go with images. Right here. This is what I want right here. I want this one. Okay. Yep. Right here. And now I can share this. And here we go. All right. Yeah, we'll go with the big one. We're going to go with the big one. Right here. Stearic acid. Big in beef tallow, big in lard, big in butter. Unfortunately, they have a little tiny bit soybean or coconut oil. You don't see that. Olive oil, but look at this. Cocoa butter. And 100 grams of fat, cocoa butter has 33.2 grams of stearic acid. I was putting that cocoa butter in my coffee. You know how people like to put butter in their coffee? Oh, wait a minute. Butter has 10 grams out of... So 1/10 of whatever you put in butter in your coffee would give you that much stearic acid. Well, look at cocoa butter. So I bought cocoa butter on the old internet. You've all heard of that, the internet? Yeah, the internet. And I lost 3 pounds last week by doing that. I'm going to get some more. I ate it all. Anyway, that chocolate tastes great. And when you put the cocoa butter, the pure cocoa butter, into the stearic acid, into the coffee, it's like you're making a hot chocolate. It was so good. What is going on here? I don't want that. Close that. What is this? Sam Hill is going on here. I don't want any of this. I tell you what, some of these silly things you get on the internet. Have you ever seen that before? Silly. Now, I do have pure stearic acid, but I want to look up cocoa butter. Cocoa butter, raw organic. That wasn't it. But there you go. That'll be close enough. Here you go. So look. So we'll go back to it. There you go. That's okay. I can do the control. That's a problem when you have a brain and you don't want to use it. There we go. So that cocoa butter, just like that, comes just like that. And you can just slice off little pieces and you can put it in your coffee. It smells just like chocolate. It feels like Team Spirit, but it's chocolate. And it's fat. And I know it's plant. I know it. But I like it. Okay. So, the body going to someone. Yep. Yeah, I know. It's sad. Harder for my wife who lost her brother. Harder on everybody because, it's happened for a minute. You tried beef fat today? All right, Natalie. It's good on you. How'd you prepare it, Natalie? Yeah, I have pure stearic acid that I can add to things. Like I add it to my meat and my eggs. And then I have cocoa butter. Sue me. It's okay. Bag of cheese curds, shredded beef. I like that. Sounds good. I have to just make sure you get the cocoa butter, get your best you can, and it was awesome. Yep. Hey, look, I'm gonna tell you what. You're not anti-plants, okay? I can't. So look, here's the way I look at it. Not that everybody's gonna have to look at it the way I do, right? But I'm looking at it as a spectrum, right? There is an optimum, if from your way, there's an optimum food, meats. Within meats, there's probably more optimum meats, right? Then if we move away from optimum, we have some veg or fruits, all the way down to the absolutely horrible, horrific, damaging. I don't know why it's allowed even to be sold, right? It's a spectrum. If you dabble in some, you got to correct in others. It's okay. We're going to be okay. We're going to make this work, yeah? Yeah. All right, not anti-plants. Oh, yeah, blaming Scotty. Yeah, well, the cocoa butter people should be happy. Just fried it in small chunks in a dry pan. Had loads of, oh, yeah. Now, I like to do it in my air fryer. So I'll have to take a video of this. Yeah, I'll do a video. But I like to take my fat trimmings. And so, the fat trimmings come in little strips like this white pen. Okay. Visual. Got it? Good. And I get it, you know how it comes in a bag. And then I cut it smaller. So each piece is probably about the size of my, dirty fingernail. Anyway. And or the tip of my finger, and that way it gets all crispy. And then I salt it and I eat it, and it's wonderful. And I get all the drippings, even better. Yeah. Processed food is frankly, well, it is, but I gotta be honest with Miss Natalie. I'll eat me some liverwurst and I'll eat me a hot dog. I am a hot dog eating machine, much to the chagrin of my pants. That's right. You all ever heard of a restaurant called Der Wiener Schnitzel? Der Wiener Schnitzel. I spent 12 years living in Germany. I've eaten my body weight 4 or 5 times over in schnitzel. For those of you who are uninitiated, you take a pork cutlet. Yeah. And you put it through remember, you all seen pictures of the old washing machine, the rolling pin thing that you would use to squeeze the water out of your clothes? Well, you put that pork cutlet through that thing. It comes out the other side, paper thin. Well, a little thicker than paper, maybe 5 sheets of paper. And I'm going to tell you what. Then you take it and you coat it in some egg wash and panko and breadcrumbs. You deep fry it. So, wow, it's like fair food, deep fried pork with bread, right? So, yeah, I've eaten my share of schnitzel. But anyway, there's a place called the Der Wiener Schnitzel, and all they make was hot dogs. All sorts of hot dogs. Back in the day, they were celebrating their anniversary of the days they've been open, the years they've been open. They went back, and hot dogs were 50 cents. 50 cents. At that time, I was a struggling actor. And I had a little extra money in my pocket. That means I wasn't broke. And I took my extra dollars, my 10 extra dollars, and I went and bought myself 20 corn dogs. I ate 18 of them. I was full. I was satiated. Now it says my 3 dogs went none for the beef as soon as I opened the bag. Yeah, they'll like that. My dogs love my carnivore diet because I don't normally feed my dogs trimmings because that's just not the way I roll. My wife, she feeds the dogs, but not from the table. They get their own time away from the table. But I will let my dogs have trimmings. I love my dogs. The pork shoulder, slow cook with 40% solid fat. Very disappointing, but piggy from the heaven for my dog. That's right. Well, again, you can take that pork fat and use it to cook other things. It isn't all bad. Dogs are doing well? Good. That is awesome. Eating well in the neighborhood. But yeah, Der Wiener Schnitzel. I have been known to eat hot dogs like nobody's business. I've eaten a couple packs of them without the buns. With the buns, I can only maybe eat. Now I can eat maybe 3 or 4. But I have been known to lay waste to some hot dogs. I don't know what it is. And when I go shopping for my hot dogs, I will go down the aisle. Now, you all won't believe this, but when I go shopping, it's kind of an event. And I enjoy shopping. You know, life life gives you a lot of things you have to do. Well, you have signed up to do things. When you're married, you're married. When you're a parent, you're a parent. When you're military, in the military. When you work a job, you got to work on a job. The things you sign up to do, trading your time for their dollars, etc., ad nauseum. Got it. Shopping, doing laundry, doing dishes are necessary, and cooking, right? Necessary things. I guess cleaning too. Kind of goes with dishwashing. So I decided that I was not going to treat those mandatory events as a chore that was dreary and lifeless and soul-sucking. So when I was single, I had a good time doing my laundry. When I was in the military, most of the time I was in either pre-military or just early in the military when I was single. So I'd go to the laundromat with my clothes. I wouldn't do them in the dorm. Well, I didn't live in the dorms. I lived off post. But I'd go to the laundromat, and this is when Guns N' Roses was really big. And I'd have a good time at the laundromat. You know what I mean? I'd turn up the music machine, pop my quarters in there, Sweet Child of Mine or whatever song would be rocking out on that thing, and I'm having a good time. People come by the laundromat and go, what in the Sam Hill is going on in there? Scotty is doing his laundry, right? So, doing the laundry, doing all that stuff, cooking, I love it, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, chores don't have to be a negative thing. They can really be a blessing if we will allow it to be a blessing. Yep, you're right. That is the point, Natalie. Life is what you make it. And if you let your life be defined or determined or qualified by others, you're setting yourself up for some disappointment, as I recently relearned. So now that we have all these special spiffy things going on here, let me ask you this question. What are your most recent non-scale victories? And as you prepare your comments, I'll let you know that the other day, I stepped on the scale and the scale indicated, drum roll please, 278 pounds. Oh, wait. A late breaking news. It represented 277 pounds, 278 pounds, 277 pounds. So I'm going to go with 277.5. That's my final offer. I'm not changing it. 277.5. And I was very happy with that. Now, today is day 50 something. We're going to look to check out the days. It's Thursday. I know that. But today is 54, 55, day 57. And day 57, I don't know what my weight is, but I know on day 56 it was 277.5. I'm not going to technically weigh in until the end of the month on near the 30th, but I'm going to go out of town. I'm going to the beach, which means I'm going to have to do this broadcast from the beach. I'm sorry. I don't mean to do that to you. I hope it doesn't cause anybody any distress, but that's what I'll be doing. Yep. So overall energy levels have improved. Sweet. Mood is lifted. Sweet. Down 6 kilograms in 3 months. That's a win. That's right. And I am happy for you, Miss Natalie, especially if with the increased energy levels and all that and mood, that your weight reconfiguration will swiftly be synergistic, so that, do we really care what the weight number is? Yes, we care about the scale, but I submit that we care more about how our clothes fit us, how well we can move, right? Laura is in here saying that I like hot dogs with the skin. Yeah, got to have that snap. Nathan's Hebrew National. All right, I'm down with that. So today I cooked up some Italian sausages, but not the sweet Italian, just a regular Italian sausage. I almost burnt them. I was making a very heartfelt video at that time, and I lost track of the time. And then my dogs barked. I said, why are my dogs barking? Oh, my brats, they're burning. They didn't burn. They didn't burn. They didn't burn. It just got really well done in one little area. But they tasted amazing. I love them. Mm-hmm. So, yep, the ocean or a lake or a beach. Oh, it'll be the ocean. It will be the ocean. Eric, Ontario. No, I won't be going to Ontario, but where do we go? Why are we doing Ontario, Eric? Oh, that Lake Ontario behind you? Ottawa is the capital, right? We went through a little lesson earlier on this. British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, right? Ontario, British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec. Yep. Canada invited me up there for a little soiree, and I went, and I had to learn. I'm getting so much more done. It feels good not to have struggled through it. That's right. And I'm going to tell you now, this is from a non-medical person, but I will tell you, if you get a little bit more of that there stearic acid into your diet, specifically stearic acid, C18, your mitochondria will be very happy, and you'll have even more energy. And that's what I'm doing. It's amazing. It's amazing when you read the research into stearic acid, how your body has receptors on the cells that will respond directly to stearic acid. Now, I don't know about all the other acids, and my eyebrows are getting crazy. Sorry about that. Here, let me shape them. Sometimes I have to trim them because my eyebrows start waving at people when I walk by. Very unnerving. The missus is not fond of my eyebrows waving, or when my beard gets so long that it dangles on her head when we hug. So I have to do that too. But I don't like to trim my eyebrows. I know that's a little TMI, but it is mine. So, all right, Laura. Love the Italian sausage. Yeah, on the grill, pan, onion, peppers, olive oil, brown. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I've spent a lot of time in Europe and Germany. I've eaten my body weight many times over in all sorts of those bratwurst. Yeah, that tell you what, and I can't believe I can't find. You know how you can go to Amazon and look at your previous orders? Oh, here it is. Orders, accounts, watch list. No, what is the orders? Orders. I wonder if I can go far enough back in my orders. I doubt it. Okay, let's go. All buy again. Oh, it's 3 months. I'm gonna go in 2020. There we go. Let's see. While you're doing things, oh, I remember that order. Ooh, that was an expensive order. One time I ordered something, and I ordered it, and it was wonderful. It was so good, I ordered it again. And then what happened? Yeah. So what happened was I didn't really want that thing I ordered. So I had to send it back. And it was a very expensive order. That expensive order, it was, well, what can you say? Silly boy. But that's a great thing about Amazon. They took it all right back. There it is. I'll share with you what I've taken. That way you know. Do you care? I don't know. Let's take a look. This is what I ordered. Terra Soul Superfood Cacao Butter. That's it. And what did it cost? I don't remember. It wasn't that much. I don't think it was that much at all. Yeah, look at that. It's roughly 14 or this one was 29 for this one, right? But it wasn't that expensive. And it is so I just went to my last piece and I will be ordering it again because I miss it. I really do. That way I'm getting the pure fat. That's what I wanted. See, I wanted the fat. There it is right there. So 48 servings, 2 tablespoons. I never put 2 tablespoons in my cup of coffee. That's weird. But, and we know that over 40% of it is stearic acid. So I had 14 grams. So 7 grams, saturated fat was 8. I don't care. So it's roughly either 4 or 7 grams of stearic acid. Absolutely amazing. Oh, it was so good. It made my coffee taste like, matter of fact, it was so good. Now, this is what you say, how good was it, Scotty? It was so good that I would actually just put it in with hot water. I didn't have one of those little, one of the little wispy things. I have one now. Now I whip it up in my coffee. It makes a froth. I could make a cup of hot cacao butter, no coffee. Oh. Yep, good stuff. So, what does it say here? It says here, just remember that just about everything in the ocean has teeth, spines. I know, that's why I don't get in it. I get by it. Hello, Susan. How are you? How are you? How are you? Good to see you. I trust everything's going well for you. I saw there were some thunderstorms in southeast South Carolina. Hopefully nowhere near you. You struggle with dairy, so cocoa butter in my coffee will be amazing. Yes, it is amazing. You know, your taste buds that do that little, I'm sorry, Susan, please don't get mad on all the singing, but your taste buds and your tummy go, oh, you'll just have that angelic feel. And it's so good. And I have a little jelly knife, and I took my little jelly knife and I shaved off the cocoa butter, very carefully collecting it. Like you would shave chocolate to go on top of a pudding, but we don't do that anymore. And I shaved off that cocoa butter, and the odor alone, oh my lamb. The reason also I got the cocoa butter is I make my own hand lotion. So you take a little of cocoa butter and a little bit of olive oil, along with some tallow. You mix them all together in the proper ratios, and you get a wonderful hand cream. And I'll tell you, when I made this hand cream, and I made some of the hand, you could eat it literally, and then I made some you couldn't eat because I put a little bit of lavender in it. But when you put that on your hand, you can stick your hand in a dishwater for 30 minutes, and it's going to beat up like Rain-X on your window because there's no water getting into your skin. You wash your hands, wash dishes for half an hour, and the water going to beat up. It was awesome. Yes, it was. So winding down for a day for bed, thought I'd stop in and say hello. Well, hello. You got to go. All right, you have a meeting. Tell them that we in the land where the toilets spring the wrong way, we say hello. Yes, tell them hello for us. Yep, it is a great coffee. Yep, you take care, Miss Lindy. And Susan comes back with bada boom, bada bing. Hey, Laura and Natalie, woohoo! Tonight's been a night of lives, hasn't it? I know. I was in earlier watching JT, and JT was hitting it up with Carrie. And then I went into a live with Carrie and his wife, Jan, earlier. They were talking about the theater. But yeah, been quiet night. Well, we're getting close to that big 24-hour carnathon. We don't want to miss the carnathon. No way. Would you share that for skin cream? Well, yeah, I guess I will. I have to look it up again. But, I mean, you can go just Google skin cream. Easiest thing in the world. It's easier than making a cup of coffee. You just mix in a few ounces of olive oil, a few ounces of tallow, a little cocoa butter, and if you have some stearic acid, pure stearic acid, which I do, then you can put a little bit more of that. And that stearic acid is what gives it that solid feeling. It makes it hard at room temperature. Just a little bit. I'll go back and I'll look in my old videos. I got off a video on the YouTubes. YouTube University. And it was awesome stuff. Matter of fact, I know it's a little bit off topic, but I made up a batch. So I was working from home. Like I said, I don't like it. I was working from home, and I made a batch of it because I worked mainly with young ladies. I worked in the acquisitions world, and I was acquiring goods and services and things anyway for the federal government, mind you. And they would go out for luncheons, and I went out to a luncheon, and I did go to beauty college. I did get my license as, back in the day, we called them makeup artists. Now that's a word I don't know how to pronounce. Anesthetician. The people that work on your face. Yeah, put your face in these hands. I will massage them and I will make you feel better. And then I'll put creams and pluck your eyebrows and then put makeup all over you. And then you will surrender your dollars to me. That sounded like a lovely idea when I was 18. Anyway, so doing all that stuff and making the creams, I decided, hey, I know the ladies, I know what they like. So I made two things of it. I made one that had lavender scent, and I made another that had not camphor, not tree oil, but something like that. Something a little more punch to it. And I made it and I put it in little canisters. And when we went out to lunch, I gave a little canister to each of them just to let them know, thank you, I'm thinking about you. So, I missed it. Oh, okay. Yeah, a lot of lives today. Yep, a lot of lives today. I caught up to that one. But but it's been a while, and I made up a jar for myself, and I don't know. I must have had that jar for well over a year, and the fat never went rancid because the heat and the combination of things. So it was an interesting thing to do. And so if you have ladies and gentlemen too, if you have some extra tallow laying around, you can make yourself your own hand creams. It's wonderful. I mean, tallow-based hand creams and makeups are highly sought after. And of course, you can make your own soap. Make yourself your own hand cream. Now, you can make your tallow. You can render your tallow. Two basic ways for rendering tallow is a cold method or a wet method and a dry method. There you go, wet method and a dry method. And the dry method, you take all your fat and cut it up as fine as you can. Chop it up. Do that whole Ginsu thing to all the fat. And then put it in a pan at a low heat and just let the heat render it out. And try not to let it get too hot because you don't want to scorch it or give it that cooked beef flavor and smell, right? The other way is the wet method. And what you do is you take a pot, you boil water in it. You put your fat in the water and let it render out that way. Now, the wet method takes longer, all right? But it doesn't give as much of a cooked oil smell to it. And then what you end up doing, you take the whole kit and caboodle and you put it in your refrigerator and you let it set up for a good amount of time. And then when you drain it and you poke a little hole in the side, poke it like, how you do a can of like condensed milk or something. You take the can and pop it on both sides and then let the water drain out from underneath it. And you can strain it for any straggler globules of fat. And then you'll end up with a wafer of fat, of tallow on your water. And of course, I missed a step. So you render it all out, and eventually you take your strainer and you strain out all the pieces of fat that did not render. All right. And you take that fat, put it to the side, fry it, and it makes great cracklings. Okay. Now you put your strained pot of fat and oil off to the side. If you want to go through the extra step, and I recommend it, get some cheesecloth, put some cheesecloth over a pan and pour the hot water and the oil through the cheesecloth and get out the little pieces of stuff. So now you basically have some fairly clean water, slightly discolored, and you have the oil. Put it in the fridge, let it set, drain it, save off the block of tallow, scrape the bottom of the tallow that will have some stuff kind of embedded in it, right? The little floaties, and repeat it or make 2 or 3 more pots. Then when you have it all together, repeat that process to break it up, put it in there, and you can refine it and strain it some more. And then what you will have is some beautiful tallow. You can cook with it or do other things. So that's my tallow. I prefer the wet method. Google it, watch a few videos. You can make your own makeup. You can make your own chapstick. You can make your own soap, and you can make your own lotions. So that's what I have to say. So, okay, what do we have here? Scott, with those hands, you'd have made a great, you know what I did? Here's the problem. And I had a problem. So I'm stuck in the school with, about anywhere between 50 and 60 ladies. And what happened is, in all honesty, it was weird. And they just really didn't want to. Well, I started off as a full cosmetologist doing hair. But when we got to pin curls and doing all that stuff, and with this goofy thumb of mine, my 2/3 of thumb, my thumb is big enough it didn't fit into the scissors, the little tiny clipping scissors. And I was always bent over clipping and doing, and I hated that. So I almost became a beauty school dropout. But we figured we'd go ahead and go through the rest of it, and I did. Well, anyway, I had full hair then. I should get a picture of hair all the way down past my shoulders, great big old beard, and I just wasn't cutting the picture of your prototypical person who does that line of work. And I didn't have a clue how to do makeup. I had no clue. I'd never worn it myself. And no one would let me practice on them. And when I did have to do some massage, I was told I did it too soft. Can you believe that? Big old guy, big old hands. And then, no. You got to push like you mean it. So I learned how to do massage, and I did the massages, and they'd let me do massages. And I was licensed to touch all the way to here, from here up, all the muscles, all the nerves, and I gave good massage. But when I wanted to learn how to do the makeup, I figured the trick was, this is during the time of Pat Benatar. Do y'all ladies remember that time? The big flame eye makeup all the way off to the side. All right. Kind of garish to me, but that was the thing. So they'd all the younger women would be like, "Hey, we're getting ready to go out and shake our money makers on a Saturday or Friday," and they'd say, "Hey, Scott, can I use your makeup?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, you can use my makeup, sure, but you gotta let me put it on." So I bought the best makeups. I had all kinds. I knew the colors. I bought the colors I knew they would like. I got the right palettes, and so that's how I learned. So when I went to my state boards in Austin, Texas, I had a former girlfriend who lived there, and I asked her if she would go and be my model, and I passed the boards. And the funny thing is, the board could care less how artistic I was. All they cared about was I clean? Was I proper in my application of safety protocols? I was like, that's easy peasy. Heck, I had a food handler's permit. I think I could handle makeup. Anyway, that was just something in my past. 25 and more later, my niece is getting married. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, hey, praying for David. I want you to know that publicly and profusely praying for David. I'm glad he's getting to do this with his daughter. That's incredibly important. Happy for both of them. Hope you all have a wonderful time. Yeah. Hey, good question, Eric. You got a YouTube? I know you've been posting pictures, but I don't know that I've seen a video. Yep. It'd be a great one. It should be a great day. A full day and a full night. Nothing like a wedding make you feel feel like life is full of opportunity. I always like going to weddings, and I've done a few gigs as a photographer at a wedding. I'll never do that again. Never, ever, ever. I remember I went to a friend's wedding and I happened to have my gear in the car. And he said, "Hey, man, you can take pictures?" I said, "Sure, but you've got a photographer." And they said, "No, no, 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 you go ahead too." So I did. And then at my son-in-law's sister, when she got married, the same thing happened. So yeah, but I'll do it for fun, but I won't do it for money. And I even had some people at church ask me to photograph their wedding. And I told them no, because I'm not into that type of stress. It's a lot of money, but too much stress. Oh, what do we have here? Miss Susan, thank you. Actually, it's our younger sister's daughter. Okay, so the uncle is. Oh, I'll go uncle for that for ease of my poor little head. Yes. Well, I'm glad. It's good for the family. Good for the family. I take it that the young man she's marrying is meets all of the family's requirements. Can you imagine what my daughter had to go through? That poor girl. Boys would come by the house, and there I am, kind of not quite ducking to get through the door, but definitely turning my shoulders, right? Getting through the door, and the boy's like, no. So I'm gonna tell you a funny story. Anybody want to hear a funny story about my daughter? Yeah. David, Susan, Tracy, and Scott. All right, I got it. So here is a funny story. A long time ago in a far, far away okay, no, not that one. So when my daughter was a freshman in high school, and we had moved we used to live on the air base and housing. Then we got a little house, and it wasn't on the prairie, but it was our first little house. Nice little split level. The wife and me and 3 children. We moved in along with a dog. And we moved in, and I didn't know anybody in the neighborhood, but being the wallflower that I am, we got to know the people. And I had a friend, and same friend as my bestest buddy. I told you, my Forrest Gump. I'm his Bubba, and he just bought a house over there, right over there. We're moving down here hopefully by the end of the year. Anyhow, Bubba would come over, and we'd barbecue, and we'd have fun, and it was all good. And then gotta have a dog. And then my daughter's a freshman. She had the young men come by. And these young men came by in their car. Now, let me stipulate, my daughter was a freshman going into her sophomore year. And these boys had a car, and they were driving. So my little spidey senses were going off. And they get out of the car, and everybody chitty-chatting, and I've got the great big grill. Carnivore Kip would be proud of me. I had a Pit Boss grill, got a little smoker on the side, got a great big grill, and I'm always cooking. Because I feel, from a biblical perspective, if I feed all the people in my neighborhood and take care of them, they're less likely to rob me. They're less likely to take advantage of me. That's the guy who feeds me. He feeds my children. I fed everybody. I never cooked for 1, 2, or 5. I cooked for 17 to 30 people almost every weekend. Kids would walk by or ride their bikes and try to go fast. And, no, get over here. Eat a hot dog. Eat a hot dog. So anyway, these kids come by and they say, "Hey, is Ashley home?" I said, "Oh, you want to talk to my daughter? Sure. No worries." So my daughter comes out, and she goes, and they hang out, and they're talking in the yard. And, eventually, the boys come by the grill, because, they all want to be men. And they go where the men are, and there's only 2 of us. Kind of hard to miss us. There's only 2 of us, and one of us is like ginormous. And they come up to me, and, I learned a long time ago that intimidating people doesn't really work well. It doesn't. So the boys are coming around, and they knew I was in the military, And they ask questions about military stuff, and they ask questions about weapons and all that stuff, weapons and guy things. And I had to tell them, I said, no, I don't know much about guns, and it's the truth. I really don't know a lot about guns. But this is what I do know. If you're within 300 yards of me, I own you. Well, that got their attention. And then they were asking questions about this and that and other. I said, well, look. And then I told them details about what you can do with a spoon and an eye and all those things, Do you know what? They never came back. Ever. I didn't threaten them. I didn't tell them they couldn't see my daughter. Years later, this story is being told around the table, and I mentioned that, and my daughter said, she said, I had always wondered why they never came back. And I was like, they were seniors, and one was graduated, and they were sniffing around my daughter. They're lucky I didn't bash their little heads in right there. But I'm a sly dog. That's right, a little psyops there, huh? Yeah, that's what that was about. Anyway, it was funny after the fact. To me, it was funny the whole time. Anyway, so I was not an ideal father. But that's what we had to do. I don't know. What was good dad? So my daughter, she cute as a little bug in a rug. I got to be honest. She's my daughter by adoption. She's my daughter. Don't forget it. My wife had her from a previous marriage, and I adopted her really early on. She was only 3.5, I think, when I adopted her, close to 4. Suffice it to say, she's my daughter. She calls me dad, and she still has a relationship now with her biological father. Just park that away. Anyway, so my daughter is diminutive in stature. Her daddy is a little feller. Anyhow, so she was doing martial arts, and one of the guys teaching her in the martial arts class, he actually worked with me in the Air Force in the same organization. Not doing the same thing. He was an IT weenie. I was a weather weenie. Anyway, so anyhow, we started seeing behaviors that made the spidey senses on Ma and Pa Kettle a little bit suspect, like some words, some things, some glances. And my daughter was, she was maybe a sophomore or something like that in high school. And this guy, he kept on, well, we get calls because my daughter had been doing this martial arts for a long time, and the whole troop was going out for dinner. And she said, hey, we're going to, Mom, she called up, Mom, Dad, we're going to go out for dinner after practice. Is that cool? And we'd be like, okay, who all's going? She gave us a list. You know the questions. You know them. You've asked them. Who's going? Where are you going? Who are you going with? Who are you riding with? How are you going to get home? We asked all the obligatory questions. And she said, oh, Mr. G is taking me. And I said, Mr. G's wife going with you? No, you may not go. Oh, she gets so mad. I said, now, if you want to go and ride with, somebody else, that'd be fine. She's like, what is your problem? Well, I went out and I got some software I put on our computer. We only had one computer. I put software on that computer that did keystroke stuff and took snapshots every few seconds. Kids always wonder why our computer ran slow. Anyway, we got some more spidey sense material between communications, but nothing actionable. You know what I mean? This guy leaves and he goes to Korea. A year later, I get a phone call. Bring, bring. Yeah, hello, Sergeant. Blah, blah, blah. What's up? Yeah, hi, this is the OSI, Office of Special Investigation. We'd like to interview your daughter. Well, I'd like to have hair. But you're not interviewing my daughter until you discuss with me what it is. Oh, well, we'd rather not say. Well, then you're not going to get to interview my daughter. Well, so we negotiated. that I would be present, as would be my wife, when they interviewed my daughter. Well, they interviewed my daughter, and it turns out that this Mr. G feller was over in Korea, and he got caught with a computer full of child pornography. And what he did is he turned himself in so it'd be less punitive. So in the turning himself in process, they interviewed him, and he had to give a list of all the people he had any contact with who were underage, and my daughter's name came up. Yes, I felt vindicated. But as they interviewed my daughter, any sense of innocence I would have suspected she had was significantly degraded when they pulled out pictures. And I don't care how much you put blanks on pictures, you know. So he's over in a foreign country. He's in custody. And I'm thinking that's done. I've protected my daughter. I've done my duty to my family at the expense of them being happy to me. Now, my daughter and my sons at this time still didn't know that that computer was on lockdown for me. 3 months later, my daughter gets a card in the mail from this perp. It's a birthday card. And he tells her, I still have a copy of it. And he tells her, oh, hi, how are you? I've been thinking a lot about you. Hey, my wife and I are getting separated, and I'm going to be going to school. And I sure would like you to come visit so we can take some long walks on the beach. I was not happy. I took that letter and I took that card and I took that envelope and I photocopied them 4 or 5 times. And then I went to the office of these individuals, the OSI. Everybody knew where their office was, unmarked. I stood in front of that office. I banged on that door like it was my job. That door was rattling. Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. My veins were popping. I was historically upset. I came to the door, guns drawn. I told them, you said you had this under control. If you can't do it, I will. Never heard of the guy again. Very upset. Still gets me a little bit wound up. But it's what you do for family, right? There it is. She never realized until she was an adult how close she was. And now she has her own children and 2 daughters and a son. Yeah, she knows. She knows now. I saw a post of crimes who kidnapped a male student in the military and the father. Yes. That's my favorite story. I talk about it all the time. It happened back in the 70s. I remember the night it happened. Yeah, the guy had taken him from Texas to California, and they're extraditing him, and they bring him back to Arizona. The guy was at a payphone. Bop, 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 bop. He turned around and pop, 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 and then dropped the gun and got off. I don't think he got full lifetime sentence, any of that. Yeah. So anyway, the point is there. Sometimes as parents, we have to do unkind and unpleasant things because we think it's in the best interest of our family. And there you go. But instead of all that, we got a wedding to go to. And now I know we got a wedding, or you got a wedding, but I hope that this young man realizes the fine family he's marrying into. And I'm sure he does. So anyhow, I'm sorry. That kind of went off the rails in a hurry, but it was a story, and I thought I'd share it. So, talk to me, y'all, about what else is going on. Let's see, we have the 14th as a Thursday. So we have Friday the 15th, and then we have 16th, 17th. Anyway, got big plans for this weekend, middle of September. We've already had our holiday for the month. How's the weather? I know today it was cool. The wife had a fire going today. It was awesome. I've got a fireplace. I'm going to be installing soon out on my pavilion. Well, I had Sam call me, my crazy ex who had my college day. Oh my man. It's hard. It's a hard world out there. And doesn't in a way, your heart breaks for these people. It really does. No, I'm often reminded when Christ was on the cross, and they were asking who they should let go and all that, and everyone was talking about Barabbas, right? And the thief was hanging there next to Christ, and he professed his acceptance, and how Christ answered him, "Tonight you'll be with me in heaven." And I think of that, and I think about all these people who are rightfully imprisoned, but I pray that they will see the light. I really do. Yeah, it is a season for fire pits. Well, I know, and on top of fire pits, I'm putting in a great big old fireplace on the old pavilion, and I'm trying to remember. I don't think I'm going to remember, but it's a great big old fireplace. Been working on this fireplace on this pavilion for 3 years now, and I am so hopeful that in the next 2 weeks, now we already got the fireplace. It's already been ordered, and the fireplace is in the store, and it is ready for pickup. The challenge is I have to get it. Yes, that's my challenge. I have to go and get it, and it weighs about 400 pounds. It weighs even more than me. I know, huh? Here's a picture of me standing beside my fireplace. See? That's me, my big old belly, and that's my fireplace right next to me. And I am going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Installing it on my pavilion, and then I'm going to be having fires. Yep. So I haven't shown you too much. You see that right there? Piece of walnut. That is what I'm making with my free time. I'm making a walnut bowl. I know. You've never seen one before, huh? Not like that. I'm carving it to make it into a bowl for the table. Is that what I'm doing? I don't know. But I wanted to make something, and that's my creative thing. And well, that's not going to do it. But yeah, a great big old walnut bowl, and I'm sanding it and doing some shaping, so there'll be an extra bowl for the missus to use on the table during the holidays. It's an irregular thing, and I'll show you when I get done. I'm actually trying to make a total series of bowls and stuff like that, just because I like to do that. Hey, he is that Christian. All right, Christian, second marriage, both of them. Okay, better get 10 years. Fine, all right. I think that's awesome. I think that is wonderful. You know, it's a special thing to do that, and my prayers are going to be for them and for their marriage. When my wife and I met, I was in the military, and I had to go. Well, we were getting a church wedding. I wasn't saved, but I knew that was the right thing to do. And my wife said that's the right thing to do. Funny how that works. She said it, and I agreed. I know. And we had to go, and we had to get. We had to take a test. not just a blood test. We had to take like a written test. I never knew I was going to have to take a test to get married. No one told me you had to take a test to get married. But what this chaplain said was, I won't marry you if you don't take the test, if we don't review the answers, and if you don't go through 6 weeks of counseling. Now look, the night I met my wife, I wanted to marry her. I knew better than to ask her because I thought I might scare her off. And that was true. I would have. So I waited. It was in February when I asked her, and I met her right before Christmas. So yeah, I waited about 7 weeks to pop the question. I thought I did good that way. So we took the test. And the test was the results were not what he anticipated. He thought we cheated. I don't know how you cheat on a test about compatibility, but he said, you two are the most two compatible people ever. Did you all share answers and lie? Or no? I'm like, dude, why? Of all the places, even as a non-believer, that I'm not going to lie, it's not going to be in a church to a pastor with my future bride. Help me out. And so what he told me, he said, because of her previous marriage and divorce, there was a 70+% chance that we would be divorced as well. And I said, well, Wesley Wabbit, you don't really know me, do you? 31 years later, other than when I do something stupid, we're doing great. See, I way outkicked my coverage, married way above my station. There was a divine influence in that. So I knows good weddings still happen. And that's an awesome thing. Yeah, hit the likes. Thank you. Oh, no. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing with the family. Must have been love. Yeah, we're still, yeah, it was definitely love. I mean, it had to be love. So my wife likes stray animals. Remember the dog we talked about before? The dog? Yeah. We've always had cats and dogs. Not all the time work, but we've always had them. My wife loves strays. And yeah, she got the big stray. She won the Stray of the Year award when she got me. And sometimes she's fond of pointing to me when she's out in public with her friends, and she'll go, yep, all that's mine. That's all mine. No, she did okay. I'm not the worst cat she could ever have, but I know she's the best I could ever have because I had nothing to do with it. I had very little to do with it. Matter of fact, I just said yes. And then I get saved. Bonus round, right? All right. Doodly 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 doo. Doodly doodly doo. I'm trying to catch up. My screen says 7+7 watching. There we go. I like that. Well, 6 watching now. Well, I have that way. People pop in and pop out. It's like the hokey pokey around here. You put your foot in, you put your foot out, you put your foot in. I think sometimes people's browsers will go in and out with this StreamYard. But and we've been on for 1 hour and 28 minutes. It's a miracle. That's what I'm telling you. It's a miracle. And, part of yesterday's conundrum happens to center around my getting confused. Because when I go to my YouTube studio, it says that there are 288 total subscribers. And I'm amazed. People subscribe, people unsubscribe. They're in, they're out. Like I said, it's like the hokey pokey around here, right? But it says I have a total of 423 watch hours. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I want to be like Carrie. I want to be like Carnivore Kip. I want to be like, Bill Knott. But I'm not. And I want to monetize, but I'm not. And that's where I fell for the bait. I fell for that bait of Satan. Yes, I did. because that's not why I'm here. I'm not here to get monetized. I'm not here to be so inundated with people that I can't respond, to Lisa's beautiful comments, or to Laura, or Susan, or to Eric, or to Woodster, or to Mike Shaw, or whoever comes in. Yeah. See, now I'm down to 4. Now it's down to 1. See, I think that's the problem. That's okay. Yep. That's how it works. So in the end, I'm just here because this is cool. What? Then click those watch hours. Okay. Let me click them. I clicked them. It says 4:23. I'm not the smartest tool in the shed. Yeah, and it says that blah 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 blah. Click-through rate like Horatius. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm here to be with you all, right? That's what matters. Oh, be refreshed. Okay. Yeah. Well, I need to be refreshed. Gosh, at the end of the day, I need to be refreshed. No, I'm only kidding. Click, not clock. Okay. I got it. Again, the idea is if we get caught chasing numbers, the next thing you do, you're busy worried about the thumbnail. And I know the thumbnail is real important. And I've just got my picture. Bobblehead. And I don't put all the words, and I don't do the clickbait thing like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Or how about this one? Yeah, all those great little pictures people can do. Not so much. And I have some photography background and skills, but I'm like, look, I'm going to get out here and do my little shuck and jive, do my little dance, and what was that? Get down tonight. Man, I did not like disco. I didn't like disco because I have no coordination. I could not dance. Which reminds me, there was a young man who was trying to court my wife when I was courting him. Little tiny Claude. He was a little feller. He was a ginger too. I had to have a discussion with him. I had to discuss with him how my heart was set on her. Miss Jackie was going to be mine. And he could keep his legs if he would stay away from her. No, I wasn't going to take his legs. I was just going to maybe fold them up a little funny. but little Claude could dance. My wife loves to dance. And we go to the nightclub. And yes, I met my wife in a bar. It was called the Hitchin' Post. And we had our wedding reception there because it was free. It was a nice steakhouse. By day, it was a steakhouse. Late at night, it was a meat house, a meat market. But little Claude, he had his eye on my bride to be. And, better not. One of the only times it was convenient to be larger than life. Yeah, so it says here, it all comes in time. You have a small, well, it does. You all are awesome. You all very much. When you least expect it, when you least expect it. Well, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go and do these impromptu, what would you like to call them, ad lib type of evening, late night after parties. We're going to try to do them Monday through Thursday and sporadically on other times. I may even I'll go through and make a little thumbnail-y. But what I try to do is I try to do this and not step on other people like Dr. Chafee right now. When I'm sure, or if I don't know if he's still on, but he was. I know. I'm pulling away from his following. Oh, nope. Clickbait. I agree with you, Natalie. The important thing to remember is that who our source is. Amen. It's difficult, of course. We want to challenge grow, but yeah, that's right. Funny. I'm not funny. Funny looking. disco. Yeah, I know. I hate disco because I just had no coordination. What was that? Bird, frog, bird, frog. Get down tonight. Get down tonight. I had it. I didn't have it. No way. But some of the music I like, but not that much. Was it the stupid law when you turned 18 that it was legal to drink? Yeah, it was legal to drink, but I started way earlier than that. Yeah, no clickbait on Scotty. No. You can get fish bait, but you can't get clickbait. That's for sure. No, I started drinking a lot stupider. My first recollection of drinking alcohol was when my mom and dad lived in this little tiny house. And we lived in that house from 1964 until 1967. And I drank in that house. So I think I had a drink in 1967. I'm going to go with that being my first. And I was 5 years old. And I made my first drink because my mom and dad made them. And my dad thought it was cool. And my dad showed me how to make them. Little Scotty was helping making the drink. To put the vodka in over the ice along with the daiquiri mix, right? Put the lid on it, Scotty. So the next morning, I put mine on and I made my own, but I knew better than to shake it because I wake up mom and dad. So I ran to the back of the yard and I hid behind a bush. It was wintertime. There are no leaves on the bush, but Scotty thought you couldn't see me. You know how kids are. Yeah. And then it got worse. And then it got better. But I picked up smoking. And I was about 8. And then I stopped smoking and drinking when I probably stopped smoking and drinking when I was 14. But I picked it back up again when I was 16. And that's when my brother was killed in a horrible accident. And so I started drinking heavily. As a matter of fact, I drank really well. I'd go to, because I took all the science in my high school, so I had a key to the lab. I go in early in the morning, and they had an organic chemistry. Old Mr. Milletti would make a big 35-gallon bucket of wine in the semester. And then I would go and I'd pull it out and I would distill it. I did not know about heads or tails. I'm very lucky I didn't kill myself. But I'd keep that in my locker and take a nip throughout the day. So I spent most of 1979 until 1991. I spent most of it inebriated on and off. Yeah, no bueno. That's when I met my beautiful wife. No, I did. I have 3.5, 4 years of sobriety in there. Anyway, silly, stupid things that stupid, immature young men do. And I got in trouble and made people's lives worse, made my life worse, but we got through it. We got through it. And now here I am on YouTube, late at night. Yeah, I tell you what, the thing about alcohol, now here's a little factoid, just in case you didn't have it stuck in your head. Now, probably none of you drink. But every day, just about, before you were a carnivore, I could guarantee it. You had a drink every day. Did you know that? Yes, you did. Because all the things in your body that went through fermentation, on average, people get, I want to say, an ounce of alcohol a day from their diet because of the fermentation that goes on in your body. That's right. It's a true story. Matter of fact, I'm working on the Googler over here. My Googler is over here, over there, my Googler. And I'm going to go ahead and Google what I know to be truthful, but I want to make sure. Google, gotta spell it right, Mr. Scotty. Alcohol. I don't even know how to spell it anymore. Alcohol syndrome. Alcohol syndrome. P-O-P-O. I can't remember the exact words. Oh, okay. Are you ready? All right, here we go. Older, wiser, and alive to tell the tale, pretty much. Sometimes we wonder how alive I am. Okay, here we go. I want to make sure that you understand that I am not um, being redonkulous, okay? So here it is. You don't even need my picture. Oh, I'll put it in. It didn't make a difference. Okay, there's my picture. It's called autobrewery syndrome. Autobrewery syndrome, or gut fermentation syndrome, is a condition in which ethanol is produced through the endogenous fermentation by fungi or bacteria in the gastrointestinal system, oral cavity, or in the urinary system. Patients with autobrewery syndrome present with many of the signs and symptoms of alcohol intoxication while denying the intake of alcohol and often report a high sugar, high carbohydrate diet. Several strains of fermentating yeast are rare bacteria are identified as the pathogens, right? So there was a case where a lady was pulled over and she was charged with this brewery syndrome, and her blood alcohol and I'll put DUI and see if we get the case. All right. There, here you go. CNN. So we know it's the news. Truthful. Back in 2016, right? Upstate New York woman, when she blew blood alcohol more than 4 times the legal limit, right? Well, anyway, long and short of it is, it's a rare condition, but she had 4 times. So here it is. First described in 1912. Okay, look at that. 1912. As a germ carbohydrate fermentation was studied in the 30s and the 40s as a contributing factor to vitamin deficiencies and IBS. The yeast Candida albicans and Candida krusei have been propped up in Japan, and in 2013, Cordell documented a case of a 61-year-old man who was frequent bouts of unexplained drunkenness for years before being diagnosed with the intestinal overabundance of Saccharomyces cerevisiae, or brewer's yeast. Wow. Isn't that something? So this auto brewery thing means that people are making up to an ounce or more of alcohol every day in your body. That's right. I started 18, stopped at 22, and had a drink once on a blue moon. Haven't had a drink since. That's good. Amen. Amen on that one. But that auto brewery, and we don't talk about that in the carnivore community. When we talk about being healthy, when people don't talk about that when you're unhealthy and on a high sugar diet. And then I got all my friends and people who get all high and mighty on that. Hey there, brother, how you doing? Well, most of us are good. Most of us are good. How about you? I saw earlier that you were doing a live. I hope I didn't step on your live, my friend. I hope the late night with Scotty didn't impact you. I hope not. So we're just not talking about this auto brewery syndrome. A woman claims her body brews alcohol, had the DWI charge dismissed, and she did. And she did. So, and she did, but she did. And I thank her. Anyway, auto brewery syndrome. Yeah, that's some serious stuff. And people don't realize that it happens. So that is yet another reason. Matter of fact, I am going to go ahead and bookmark this for future reference in defense of the carnivore or carnivory, right? Yeah. Good. I'm glad it's all good. Yeah. So there's another reason not to. And if you're a person who had a candida, I don't think I'm saying that word right. Candida, an overgrowth, that could be the reason why they don't feel well. They could be hungover. Imagine overgrowth of yeast. You're making alcohol in your gut. We know all the wrong things of ethanol. We know how it makes an aldehyde when you mix it with the oxygen you breathe. And aldehyde, there's nothing good in aldehyde. So another reason, eat meat. That's right. Yep. So I'm glad. Maybe I'll bring that up. Maybe I'll bring that up to the doctors. Yeah, I'll bring that up to the doctors in the 24-hour carnathon saying, hey, Dr. Baker, talk to me about this auto brewery syndrome. Dr. Hampton, talk to me about auto brewery. Dr. Chafee, talk to me. Do they get auto brewery syndrome in the land down under? I have no idea. Good God, man. I don't know. Yeah. So there I am. I'm glad someone put a comment. Candida is behind many health conditions. That's what I hear. I mean, don't they have a oral thrush too? Oral thrush, candida. You can have obviously something in your bacteria in your stomach. I mean, how long did it take before they realized that ulcers were the result of bacteria H. pylori? Yep. All sorts of things going on. So, and I was liking when I was listening to JT from Poco Moonshine Family and Carrie earlier this evening. They really just don't know. Let me rephrase that. Current medicinal practices don't recognize or acknowledge that there is a dearth of information about what a proper human diet is going to do on a body, and why like the RDAs may be completely out of whack. None of us have scurvy. Now, I've read some studies, and I like to read those things, as you could tell, that your load and your need for vitamin C is greatly reduced because you don't have so much sugar. And that many processes in our bodies, or many things used in our body, have multiple purposes. So when the vitamin C isn't being, how would I say, being burdened by the high sugar in our diets, then very little can do what needs to be done, I suspect. I mean, again, I'm not a doctor. Thank you. After I started having kids and came back, I didn't have any desire. Yep, that's great. I wish that desire had been taken from me a long time ago. Yes, now I do. My very first interview. It'd be my first interview ever, and I'm so excited. I have no idea what I'm going to tell JT. I don't know. I'll answer the questions. I'll be honest. That's all I can do. Yep, the sugar feeds the candida, and it also feeds cancers, and all that stuff has a. So if you get a chance, and you can go out and you can read things by Dr. Benjamin Bickman, and watch his videos. I'm sure a number of you have. I want to see if my Googler will help me out. So let's go with this word. Epigenetics, a study of changes in organisms caused by the modification of gene expression rather than alteration of genetic code itself. So, well, let's go to that one. What is epigenetics? And we're going to show it right here on the screen. All right. Epigenetics, very important, very oh, thank you, Natalie. I have watched a couple of his. Yeah. So this whole epigenetic thing is basically what happens in our body naturally, given the opportunity to happen, like in autophagy, right? When we have autophagy going on, if you've watched the videos on that, all sorts of wonderful things happen at the cellular level, and even further down within the DNA sequences, right? So that's why I'm very excited about the impacts of C18, i.e. Stearic acid, on the body. So if you get a chance to look up epigenetics and autophagy and things like that, it's incredibly interesting and gives insight. So instead of treating the candida, I'm going to get that wrong. I'm going to learn how to say that word. I really am. But instead of looking at that, going to the root cause, and I don't think you get much more rootery than maybe, the DNA, right? And those epigenetic impacts. I want to have you on my channel for interview. Hey, email me, call me, write me, send a carrier pigeon. I'll do it. I'm being retired. I got plenty of time. Just gonna work around my hair appointments. And I'd love to go on, and whatever I can share, I'll be more than happy. I've heard about talking. Oh, Dr. Bickman, dude. Excuse me. My man, Dr. Bickman, Dr. Bickman, Dr. Bickman, yes. Good old Dr. Bickman. I have his book, Why We Get Sick, The Hidden Epidemic at the Root of Most Chronic Diseases. It's a great book. Dr. Bickman is a sweet feller.
Welcome to the Metabolic Link.
And here's the
hang on. Let me mute it. I don't get any strikes. And All right, well, pause right there. And here is a picture of Dr. Bickman. There he is. He's much better looking at that picture. I stopped it at a goofy place. I apologize. But Dr. Bickman is a postdoctoral guy, knows he's a world leading expert on fat. He studies fat. He knows fat. I have to look up here My Weight Loss Life. All right. Hey, Transformer, how are you? Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Good to see you. I've been watching your videos on your exercise, and I'm going to exercise. I am. I'm going to get this ball, and as soon as my belly isn't bigger than this ball, I'm going to exercise. I promise. See, I'm exercising. Okay. All right. I need to do some more exercise. But good to see you. Thank you for dropping by. I'm glad we were on long enough to catch you. But Dr. Bickman is an amazing source of information, and he is not going to beat you over the head. He'll tell you straight up, I'm a lab guy. I'm a knowledge guy, not a cutting and putting together people guy. But what he has in his brain is unbelievable. Oh, Homesick Buckeyes was there. Good old Russ. He's a funny man. He's a good man. The sea, I believe that's South African, right? Oh, you missed so much. Oh well, we'll catch you up. We'll catch you up. What's awesome? That we'll go exercise one day. Yeah, I'm actually very blessed. I do have a swimming pool out back. But today it was a hot tub day, but I didn't quite have it ready. So I think the hot tub will be another day. Yeah, that's right. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. But I have the swimming pool. I've got a cross trainer. I've got some weights. I've got the ball. I've got a floor. I've got a street. Just don't have actually, the motivation isn't quite there, but I wanted to wait until I get day 60 in. When I have day 60 in, I'll be able to do my weight, do my tapes, and then I'll be able to say, for this 60 days, as I entered into my carnivory lifestyle, this is what happened. And I have pictures. And I'll go from day 60 to day 90, and this is me on carnivore. This is me on carnivore and exercise. This is me napping. Oh, I love to take naps. But then we'll do the exercise starting next week, and we'll get into it, but hopefully not too much. I don't want to wear myself out. Yeah, got to wait for that. Wait for the motivation. Well, again, motivation, sometimes I'm on the motivation train, if you know what I mean. I believe in it, and the whole hoorah thing gets me going, right? And other times, I'm like, no, I'm just not so much into it. To say that the human psyche is complex is an understatement, right? So, predicated on that, are you internally motivated, externally motivated? I think that I've been trying to learn about quantum mechanics, and the word makes my head hurt. And the really simplified explanations of quantum mechanics present some unique hurdles when we think about things being two things simultaneously, that a particle behaves as a wave and a point. And I like to think of quantum mechanics as perhaps giving an insight a little bit more into things of a much more unknown realm. How can something be tied to something else light years apart? But they are. What they'll do is they'll collide a couple of different particles, and one of them will spin a certain way, and the other one, because of this interaction, they are they are intertwined. And so when the one is here and it changes its spin, the other one immediately starts to spin like that one. So somehow or another, some effect is happening that's faster than light, which gives the Einsteinian universal thought of physics, of what is now quote unquote a classical sense. Remember, Newtonian physics was a classic. Then Einstein came up with relativity and all that. That became the nouveau, and everything else was classic. And now with quantum, which was around with Einstein, he just said you can't work it out all the way, so we can't buy it all the way, right? Well, now that's considered more classical, and the state of the art is in this new way. But it sure would explain a lot of things that we like to think about how can I be simultaneously multiple things? How can you have God tell you He knows you, He's always known you, and yet you have this free will and God's will? How does that work out? Well, I believe that as science gets better and better, all it does is it reinforces what we believe. But a lot of things we believe we can't explain. Faith, right? I don't know that it will all get explained by this, but I do believe that more things are as more things are learned and become known, we get closer. I'll read the Bible. You are seated together, Christ, in a heavenly space. Yes, two places at once. I didn't lose you, Transformer, not a bit. Nobody's lost. No one is lost. We just have words and definitions to parlay around. And Lord, I have read it on occasion. And I get you. You're right. You're right. But it's a way of satiating that eternal quest to understand. Just tonight, I was talking to a young man, though. I said, this young man is challenged by a few things, and I asked him about his faith in the Bible, and he talked to me about it. I'm fairly, like as much as anybody can be, sure about his salvation and his understanding. And I asked him, did God wake you up today for a purpose? Are you here today for a purpose? Because I know that we had a little dinner appointment, that our dinner appointment was a divinely created appointment. That the Lord put me through last night and the day before, what prepared me for today. So if that is the case, then We got to buy it all. And he dwells a lot on some very bad things that have happened in his life. And I told him they happened for a reason. God did, and you've been through because you have a divine appointment. But I would bring up, and Lord, you're gonna bring up all this scripture, are you? Well, let me help you out a little bit here. So I should be it out right here. So when we're reading in Esther 4, 1 through 17, where Mordecai requests Esther's help, right? And Mordecai says here in 4:14, for if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this, right? Then Esther replies to him by, hey, okay, all right, I'll do this. I'll do this thing. I'll go before the king uninvited, and I know I risk death. And she tells him, hey, go out there and you fast, no food, no nothing, for 3 days and 3 nights, and I will too. And she says, and we are in verse 16, later on, it says, when this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish. Right up there with the words of no greater love hath a man to lay his life down for another, followed up by the greatest, I believe, of some words, and that is, it is done, it is finished. But again, Mordecai says right here, and who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? For all of us, right? Got to go, Laura. Okay, you take care. Got to go, take care. Thank you for coming in and sharing your time and your wisdom with us. I appreciate it. I really do. I look forward to each and every time we can get together here at the late night show there. Yep. Oh, permitted. Good night. There we go. Here we are. We're at 2 hours and 1 minute, and I don't want to leave all 9 of our folks here tonight. I do not. But I did think that was interesting. And it is so interesting. And I don't know if any of you who have channels are reading scripture online, but I do that on another channel. And I've said it before, and you probably heard it, and I'm probably repeating myself. And I somewhat apologize, but it's an opportunity again. I made an agreement with myself. And I said I would read finally. And I've read the Bible for years and years and years. Been to Sunday schools, been to church, been to studies and groups. But this is the first year I have read in a scripted manner the Bible. And I don't know if I started on January 4th or 6th, but I said I'd do it. I said I would record it and I would post it onto YouTube. And this is what I have to offer. The words and the wisdom and all the things I've ever done have never been so real and so available to me after reading than when I've started to do this. There is something, for me, incredibly powerful about reading scripture out loud to a camera that I'm posting to YouTube. Now, I butcher some names. I butcher a lot of stuff. I don't. Oh, I tell you, there were times, and particularly when we're talking here in Numbers, Deuteronomy, Leviticus, there are names and places that got creatively discombobulated by my vocals. So glad that God doesn't depend on me. But it has stuck to me. You know, I pray each day before and after that God will find me a worthwhile servant and a vessel worthy of being imbued, filled with his love, his light, his wisdom. And that the scripture will be written on my heart in such a manner as to be available to me in my moment of need. Because, scripture is the only thing we have that is an offensive weapon. Everything else is defensive, whether it's, peace or justice, and truth and speed to run, right? The winged feet or shoes. But the sword, the word is our offensive weapon. And I am no Bible scholar. Don't go there. But it has so much been written on my heart as to become much quicker to the tongue, to include book, chapter, verse, right? Not all of it. I have much more to do and many more times to do it. No worries there. But it's just so incredibly powerful. So I highly recommend it to you if you haven't already done it or aren't doing it. Read it out loud for others to hear. It is a wonderful tool. And I also know I have a little, so I put a little colored tab for each of the day's reading, so I can turn the pages easier. Those Bible pages, they pretty thin paper. But this one is a special little one. You know what this one's for? September 24th. On September 24th, which is 14 days, right? That's when it really, 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 really gets kind of different for me, because we're going to be reading from the New Testament on that date. So all of them are going to be stacked up. It'll be interesting, because I'll be reading from Luke, I'll be reading from John, I'll be reading from Matthew, and it's going to be so interesting to read all the genealogies again and over and around and about as I read from each one of those books on the same day. And it's going to challenge me, because when you read like this, all those in favor say aye, those opposed, same sign. Okay. The impact is I want to put my grammatical take, and so my reading gets ahead of the words and it anticipates grammatical things, and I have to go back and have to correct it. So I'm going to be challenged that way. All right. What do we got here? All right. What do we have here? Scripture helped me discern. Yep. Discernment is so important. Yep. It is. It is. I couldn't agree more with you. I really can't. I pray for discernment on a regular basis. And I'll be honest, I'm not as successful at it as I could be. No, I am not. Yeah. Now, did you all catch Carrie and JT tonight? I don't know if anybody did, but I asked a question that actually got read by JT. Yeah, Horners. Yep, a lot of good ones. All right, weight loss. All right, my friend, you take care. Have a good night. Hey, send me an email. We'll set something up. All right. I'd look forward to it and appreciate it. You have a good evening. Okay. Take care now. But yeah, so I was talking, and JT read my question. I had to catch that. I had to kind of flit it off the old brain pan. And what happened was, the question I had is, what are some things, you saw the comment, yeah, and they read it, and the comment I had was, what are new streamers doing that are deadly? And of course they said, the thumbnail, the holy thumbnail. All bow to the thumbnail. Okay. So, the thumbnail. I got that. the other thing they said was lulls in the video. And I just took a drink and then there was a lull. So I hope you all didn't leave all of a sudden. Well, but they were right. I know they're right. I mean, come on, they're right. But it didn't seem like something I was going to worry about. Hopefully, keeping engaged. But like the video I made earlier today, right? The video I made earlier today, when I looked at it in my video editor, okay. So I'm fairly good at extemporaneous conversation. And I can rattle it off, as you can attest to. But as I went through it, there were some things I want to take out, some pregnant pauses, some ugly ums, and so I took them out. And when I looked at it, what I do, I dive in, I pull the timeline way out in my editor, and I type it, and I get rid of the dead air space, and there's some comments that I make that I didn't need, they weren't value added. So I'm in it really deep, like I'm in it. Well, when I zoom back out and try to look at the timeline altogether, it looked like someone had chopped that thing up with a Ginsu knife. It was like a whole bunch of kung fu movies fell on my computer screen. It's like, right? So I was like, wow, that's a lot of cutting. So I did my work today. It took me 33 or 34 minutes to say all of it, and it took another 2.5 hours to say less of it. What's that all about? But the comment he put out was about that dead space. So hopefully I don't give too much dead space. We don't want dead space. Good night. But I got rid of the dead space and I put it in there. And that was I guess I could have put up my mea culpa. But no, really it wasn't. Just that you guys are my friends. And I care about you all. And you all are real important. And when I thought about chucking it all in, no, I don't want to chuck it all in. I said it in there at one point in time. I said, I just want it all for free. I just want to be an overnight sensation. I want to be healthy and light now. But that's not going to happen. And that's okay. But I'm not going to give up. I just have to figure a way to be able to inform people. So one of the things I worried about, and I am worried about, is I need to find a way to let people know when I'm not going to be live or something, or when and if I have a medical emergency. I was on another platform a few years ago, and I was following a gentleman I really liked, and he was unique and a great guy, and he's very popular, and we had a great relationship. And one night I went to the show and he wasn't there. I was like, what's going on? Well, one night anybody could have an off night. So 2 nights, 3 nights. Finally, I'm like, everybody else, we're freaking out. Like, where is he? Where'd he go? And we're very concerned. We knew he had a couple of health concerns. So I knew his daughter from another venue. So hey, what's going on with Pops? Pops had a heart attack. He was okay, but he had a heart attack. And it made me think, what are we going to do? What are we going to do if someone has a medical emergency of some sort and can't get on? And I have my wife and I, we are a very military background, we're both military kids. We're both in the military. Everything has right angles. My wife likes everything at right angles and uniform. She's very uniform. I'm not so much. And so, but the question was, my children and my neighbors know where my go bag is. They know where the insurance bag is. They know where all the things need to be. And 3 different people who live in 3 different areas have keys to my house. They know to take care of my dogs. My dogs know them. Everybody knows how to get me to what hospital, how to get me to the hospital. They know my advanced directives. They know all that stuff. All that is done in triplicate, and I'm taken care of. But you know what? I don't have any of my social media taken care of if, in the event, both my wife and I were to become incapacitated. So I need to get that taken care of. I need to be able to take it. My son-in-law and my daughter know about this. My son-in-law knows about this. And I would hope that he would come on. He would say, hey, sorry, but Scotty P's in a bad way right now. And he'll be back when he can use his arms again. Right? That kind of thing, But I have read where there are court cases where people are concerned about what happens to the social media, who gets the checks if they're like a major player, right? Who owns the rights? Interesting. Yep, it's different with live streams, you're right. And you keep a flow of conversation. Yeah, I know, huh? Flowing conversation, not a problem. All right, our Vorgonian. Yes, Keto Vorgonian. I can finally say that word. I tried to say it in my video today and I butchered it. I had to take it out. I just couldn't say it. I should get more irritated by over-editing when it's obvious the person never blinks. Here, let me not over-blink. Okay, I couldn't do it. Natalie. Yeah, it can do it and ruin the natural flow. Yep. I found myself having to leave some of them pauses in there for the dramatic effect. I'm so depraved of 50 carnivores. I try to watch them, but it's so hard. The shorter the video, give me more time. Yep, that's true. That's true. That's why I need to do it. I got to do it. I got it. But I can't say hello in less than 185 words. It's not fair. Well, what is it that say? Some people have to say something. Some people have to say things. Some people have things that need to be said, right? We all struggle with it. We do. What I do is I try to go and spread the wealth and watch them as I can. Of course, being retired, I have plenty of time and I can Bluetooth them into my hearing aids. But then my wife told me the other day she can hear them. I'm like, oh, sorry. We were sitting in the hospital the other day because we took our friend up to get her platelets. And there I am playing a video. She looks at me and I'm like, you can hear it. So yeah. But I do try to listen to them. There's so many lies. You cannot. And I don't want to steal anybody from anything, I won't be doing a live during Carnival. No, I won't be doing a live at that time at all. And actually, I'm going to have to be in and out of that because of things to do. And then I have church, and church starts real early for me because I have to go pick a young man up and bring him to early time prayer. So it's, I ought to do what I can. That's all you can do. All you can do is what you can do, and there shouldn't be any guilt or any pressure on anybody to do anything, And so that's how I'm going to run it. Oh, I offer the after party, I know, but I earlier on this evening, I saw that our friend from the My Weight Loss Life was live. I hate doing that. I don't want to step on anybody's parade. Nope. Hello there. It's Robert Bubba Baker. How you doing, friend? Good to see you. Good to see you. Love your video today. I haven't been able to add comments to it because I was having almost having like a pity party, but it wasn't a pity party. I was just, I don't know. I was that. But I'm back. Like a bad penny. And you're not going to get rid of me that easy. No. But it's all good. Good to see you. Yes, some things need time. Yes, they do. But again, there are so many good channels out there. And Carrie at Homestead How, I think. So Dr. Baker's been out there for years. I've been trying to do his 30-day January challenge for years. And Dr. Barry, he's a Kevin Bacon of the carnivore world. He's been out there for years. And you have others who've been out there for years. But the grassroots that Carrie has fostered and others like that, is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, Robert, things are going well. Things are going well. We're out here hanging out with Natalie and Akita Vagorian and Susan. We got a few people played in and out throughout the evening. No, not everybody can be here all the time, but I've been out here for about 2 hours, keeping a steady stream of consciousness of such going through, telling stories and cutting up a little bit here and there, being serious at other places, just having an evening of it. You know what I did today, Robert? No, of course you don't know what I did today, but actually today and yesterday, I pulled out my big gig bag of scales for guitarists. Now, I didn't have a lot of fun, but it is no fun. Well, it's fun, but it's a lot of work, as you well know. And I was just trying to run on my blues scale, but there are so many. There's the Lydidian flat seventh, the F major Ionian, and on and on and on ad nauseum. So what key do you like to play in the most? And I was just running on, you know how you do chord shapes. You pick anyone, pick one, anyone. It's kind of like a card trick, right? Just pick one, anyone. I picked the C. I worked in the C pentatonic major. And then I went over to the C blues scale, as you can see right there. Got the fretboard, and I was trying to work on that shape. Yeah, I didn't get very far. But I've got the book. We'll see what happens. I tried to practice it on that little Spanish guitar back there, right? I think I'll break out my regular one over here. Neck's a little smaller radius. It might help not get so many cramps in my fingers. All right, everybody, good. Catching up to do. Yep. Rome wasn't built in a day. No, it was not built in a day, nor was it destroyed in one either. And I understand what you're saying. I actually find your videos incredibly motivating as you're exercising and you're deliberate about it. And I know you've been saying you have doubled your stacks. I would be interested, if you didn't mind, in some, and I am not a numbers guy about what's your PR and stuff like that. None of that really means a lot to me, but it is neat. It is neat to know that, like, if you started out with, I don't know, the bar 35, 235 to 70, 105 plus the collars. So you could have started out doing a flat bench, maybe, because I know you got a shoulder issue. You may have started a flat bench with like 125, doing sets of eight to 10 reps. I know you did some periodization, I believe you called it. So yeah, good on you. I'm going to write that down, by the way, bub. That's how I roll. So the key of E, D, or B. Oh, there's the key of D. There's the key of E. And the key of B. Now, I cannot, and I do not like playing B notes on these chords. My fingers aren't meant for them. It's like a Gordon Lightfoot type thing. You ever play any Gordon Lightfoot music? Like Gordon Lightfoot music. Sister Golden Hair? What a great song. But you have to have some extra fingers that grow out the back of your hand to hit those chords, or bring another one over. I don't know. All right. So I've got it. I got the keys. I wrote them down. My dad looked it up. I don't know how. I don't know. Well, you don't. Well, I can prove to you. You don't need to know notes. But if you can read pictures, you can do it, and you can pick it out. I'll pass by and check on your research. Yep, at Robert underscore Robert. Yeah, lots of underscores in there. Yep. The key of D, G, and C. D, G, and C. Oh, D, G, C, or E, D, B. So I see a common D. D is common between the two of those, and the G, common. There we go. Billy Gibbons loves B. Yeah, that's what I hear. I don't know. I don't know about all that. I just have a little fun. I figured I'll knuckle down, and you never get good at something if you don't try to do it, right? You got to put in the work. I'm not mad that I don't know. I just get mad that I don't put in the work. And with this goobered up thumb, you would think I'd learn how to use a pick. That hasn't happened either. Man, that's okay. We're going to work on it. I'll make meat, right? Now, earlier we were talking, Robert, we were talking about Dr. Benjamin Bickman and he's a leading authority on fat and what happens on fat and all things fat. And we talked about things we did to protect our children. We have a wedding in the group, not us directly, but there's going to be a wedding later on. I want to say this I'm pretty sure this weekend. And we're happy to hear about that. Not actually any of us were getting married, but I do believe a niece is getting married. And so, yep. Susan's brother is officiating the wedding. And so we're going to be happy to celebrate in all of that. Hey, speaking of that, voice range mostly D or G, and my voice range is silent movies. And you know that's true. But no, hey, I got a question for you, Robert. I would like you, I don't know what your son feels about it, but I'd like to learn more about your son because the relationship the two of you have that we get to see in your videos is absolutely amazing and special. And I know you don't need to hear it from me, but he sounds like a really good young man. Yeah, he does. And I know you told me that he does, or had done his own video. He was in Japan for a minute. So I'd be interested to learn more. Lisa. Oh, all right. Good night, Lisa. Thank you. You be blessed. Again, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I can say. Appreciate you. But yeah, Robert, I think what your son and you do is so incredibly special. And I know that there are a number of fathers who would pay dearly to have that type of relationship, even if it's only in those moments. Because I know that not all times are people always on par or in that zone, but just even what we see is absolutely special, and I think we are all enriched to be able to see it when he's asking you questions and you ask him questions and he's kind of like, I really don't want to talk about this, Dad, but he does, and I think that's great. That is great. And there are a lot of people who would be gelling on you, brother. A lot of people be gelling. Also, I want to say that your transformation is readily apparent even to those who read Braille. Because I say that for the timbre of your voice. I don't know if you've done this, and obviously if you're a musician, you have an ear tuned for differentiating. I would challenge you to go and listen to some of the first 5 videos you put out versus some you've put out here recently. In particular, listening to your breathing and your timbre and the tempo. It's a lot more vibrant now. A lot more diaphragm is able to support your air, and that's awesome. All right, secret is that we're totally honest. There you go. Got to set them ground rules. Oh, you have a great one too, Natalie? Yeah, I have an okay one, my sons. We are diametrically opposed on many things, but they know without a doubt that I love them. And that it's kind of like that Harry Chapin song, Cats in the Cradle. Remember that one? Cats in the cradle and a silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. Well, that's kind of like us because, I had that military thing and I was gone doing that military thing. And I was always up front with them. I always loved them, always will. But Yeah, we're not quite there all the time, but they know I'm there. I think that's the important part, and they know who I am, and they respect. I respect who I am, and that's what's important. Yep. Now your daughter's getting married soon, isn't that true? Don't you have wedding bells in the near future? Or how long till your daughter's getting married? Susan says good night. You betcha. You go. Yep. You got to get your granddaughter to the bus by 7. Is that Xenia? Because I know we were praying for her, and I know that I have it written down. Praying for her and for her. You had a Xenia, that you had a story you were going to share with us eventually. Maybe not tonight, but soon. Okay. All right. You take care. Yep. Your daughters are close to you. Well, I know one's right upstairs. I'm not funny, but I seem to be here all night. No. Okay. Yeah. Bethany. That's right. So I've got notes. I just have to turn back my pages. I'm not quick enough at them, Eventually, maybe I'll have them tabbed up so I can refer to them. I know that our friend there in Oregon, our Guido Bogorian, was talking about having notes when she has all the handles and all the names. Well, if I had the handles and the names and then some particulars, that would be helpful, because we had to do that when I was in the service. We had to have, remember back in the day when you have to have those organizers, and it would be a little zipper thing, and you have phone numbers and your calendar and info. Well, we had to have that in the military, and it had to have all the people in it. I have mine somewhere in a box, and it had to have all the soldiers or airmen that you supervised. It had to have if they're married, it had to have their wife's names in it. It had to have children's names in it. It had to have their birthdays. It had to have their anniversaries. And you had to chronicle in there and have notes that you met with them at least in a certain amount of period of time, depending on how far up you were and all these other things. There are different criteria. And at any point in time, it was called a leader's book. At any point in time, a senior leader would come up and say, show me your leader book. And you had to produce the leader book, and they would look and go, so when's the last time you saw Sergeant Snuffy? Tell me, okay, it says here that Sergeant Snuffy has 3 children. And you'd be like, no, Sergeant Snuffy only has 2 children. And the one's an adult, moved off. They were testing you, They wanted you to get into your subordinates' lives and to know them, to have a relationship with them. Well, that was helpful, but I don't do that anymore. So, all right. Xenia is the miracle baby. Well, when you have time, I know you got to get off and run off to the snooze locker. Maybe one night we'll bring that up earlier, and maybe I'll say, hey, if you've got a topic, I want you to talk about that. Okay. Bethany, 13, 8th grade, raising her since birth. Gotcha. All right. Well, I want to have you have that opportunity to talk about it. If you even had a microphone, we could figure a way for you to at least share on a microphone if you didn't want to do the whole camera thing. So you could vocalize it, and we could cover a lot of territory that way. You wouldn't be, maybe a speed typer. I don't know. All right. What's on? Well, hello, Maribel. You keep getting an error. Am I an error? What error? Good to see you, Maribel Quesada. All right, Bethany. Okay. I'm sorry about the error. It's an error, Will Robinson. Error. Maybe my head's moving too much. I don't know. But I'd like to have you come on if you could one time, Susan, and share that with us one way or another, okay? One way or another. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you one way or another. That Deborah Harry. Yeah, Blondie. Yep. Trust me, I'll only sing a little bit. And I won't sing well. I promise you, you won't get addicted to my singing, ever. So here we are. We're 2 hours and 34 minutes into it. Hey, I was asking out to you now, Bubba, you're in British Columbia, right? Yeah, because you're out there out there by by the ocean, and I was showing the weather for that area. It was not so bad. Where did that go? And yes, we were looking. It looked like it could have been just a little bit more dicey in Saskatchewan at the moment. But let's see what the red dog did when he jumped over the fence. He didn't do anything. 84. There we go. Yep. So we're looking at this, and there we go. Right up in here, and you can see this big area of high pressure here, building in, coming in. Unfortunately, you're getting all that air from California being blown up. But here's a major system cutting in over here, coming off of the Icelandic low. And that, my friend, will probably signify the beginning of the end of the world as we know it. No, I'm only kidding. It won't be anything so drastic. It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Yeah, so let's look at a couple more shots here. We're friends. We can do that. So, yep, there we go. We see the system coming down through Saskatchewan, and this area of high pressure ridging here. This low pressure is undercutting the ridge here, and eventually it will either become cut off or spit out because of this great big piece of energy right here. And then, of course, way back here is even more of the good stuff. Okay, so it wasn't the singing, Scott. All right. A good night to you. Thank you very much, Natalie. You are always welcome in the after party or the late night. Okay. All right. Good night, Susan. You got a phone, a tab, so I don't know if it works for you too. All right. Well, we'll figure it out. Yeah, it works for you. It works for you too, but on a phone. Yeah. Easy peasy. We got the technology. We can figure it out. No worries. No worries. We can figure it all out one time. You know, my email is my name here, Carnivore Scott, all one word, carnivorescott@gmail.com. So if you have questions, comments, or queries, we can always work through it ahead of time so we can work out the bugs, so to speak, okay? But yep, this is going to be kind of interesting watching this low pressure coming into California, because one of the challenges we'll have there is to bring more rain to the southwest. But we're going to wait for that. This high pressure here, it's going to kind of booger up everything here. And you'll see this big shield coming over here. So everybody in British Columbia, at least the southern part, they're going to be all right for a bit. But when this comes on shore, particularly when this makes its way, because the jet stream is right here. There's a big finger of the jet here, and another finger of the jet here, 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 and here. Anyway, they're everywhere. Jets everywhere. We're going to see that migration of the subtropical jet move further south over Southern California, Arizona, New Mexico, that area. And so that way, all this weather that's in the northern territories and Alaska, where, by the way, they got all that rain. Remember Bill Knott is talking about all the flooding there? It might change in some areas here as they get just a little bit of a drying trend. But all that will begin to march further south and bring winter to us. Yeah, that's what happens when you're on a weather guy's channel. Yep, that's what happens. Or former weather guy. I'm not really a weather guy. I knew one once. We used to hang out. He used to tell me that's a cloud. And if you go outside and you have a cloud and you end up wet, it's raining. Now, if you go outside and you get blown over, it's windy. That's about all we have tonight, ladies and gentlemen, for humor. Yeah, that's pretty much a wrap, I think, right there. Again, I've been on a little over 2.5 hours, so I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to give each one of you an opportunity to hand jam something in the comments. If you have something you want to share for everybody else, I'll give you an opportunity to say that. And if I don't see anything more in the commentaries, I will bid you adieu, and we will see you around on the Bat Channel. See, tonight is Thursday night. Normally I don't do a Friday. I do a Monday through Thursday, but I'll see if I don't pop in a little bit tomorrow night. We'll see what the missus has. I've kind of told her I wouldn't do it on weekends, so we'll have to do it. Well, that's right. I'll do that, and I look forward to your next video. Your editing is spectacular. I don't know, Robert, if you're doing the editing or you and your son are doing the editing. The editing is really good. I still get to hear that guitar underneath. That's awesome. And I'll just look forward to your next video and our next conversation. Until then, all right? Appreciate you stopping by. I know there's a lot of places you can go, a lot of people you can see. So all the time you spent here, I really do appreciate it. And with that, final word. See none. We're out of here. Good night. God bless.